to welcome him back. Mondays with Mr. Global. Matt Randolph is here. Good morning, man. How you doing? Fancy schmancy microphone you
Wow.
got there. Wow.
Is it the right day? Am I here
You
at the
have
right time
you
now?
have the right day. you,
Okay.
Matt showed up on our stream a couple of weeks ago on a Monday. I'm like, Matt is here. Why is Matt here? Yes, you are. You have the right day. Hey, if you want to join us
Uh,
on more Mondays, we'd
Yeah.
always be happy to have you. But
I'll skip out for an hour. You can just hang out. It's fine.
I don't know what I was thinking that morning. I got up and got ready and was ready to go, and then they're like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm like, "What?"
We would have talked to you too had we not had a guest already. And
we had a previous guest. Otherwise, we would have grabbed you. But if you are not familiar with Mr. Global, Matt Randolph is an oil and gas industry expert. He's been in the industry for more than 30 years. You do not get the label of an expert just because you say, "Hey, I'm an expert." This is actually something that you have to earn and be named as. And Matt, you're very prolific on your YouTube channel. If you're looking for Matt on YouTube, just search for Matt Randolph, Mr. Global, and you cover all kinds of different things. But you have a way of breaking down, especially when we're talking about oil and gas and the prices of things and how it works, that is just so easily digestible for folks who aren't in the business, which is one of the reasons why we love talking to you so much. And we also love having you because you have enough facts and experience to annoy everyone. It's a gift, Matt. It's a gift
It
that you
is.
have.
Yeah, it's a cross
teach
to
us,
bear.
teach us, sir.
So I wanted to start off with this because, of course, Donald Trump, running for his second term, promised to drill, baby, drill. And he's going to get rid of all the regulatory red tape so that America's energy is just going to be unleashed on the world, even though we've been doing pretty well for the last couple of years. But this jumped out at me from the bulwark. Adam Trumbley was the superintendent for the Osage Agency of the Bureau of Indian Affairs, which oversees oil and gas drilling on Osage Nation. He got fired last month as part of the Doge budget cuts. And then because, of course, it was such a good decision, they ended up bringing him back because they come in with a chainsaw without knowing what people do and blow them out. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, you have the nuclear codes. Maybe we need you. So I'm curious because you're in Oklahoma. What are you hearing from fellow oil and gas producers?
Uh, it's not good. So just there's a lot of uncertainty. A lot of people are looking at maybe even getting out of the business, honestly. Uh, but the thing about the oil and gas industry is we have to know what's going to happen or have some idea what's going to happen moving forward for us to plan our business, and
Yep.
that's just not a thing that exists anymore. So I don't know if you saw the comments to the Dallas Fed from the oil and gas industry to President Trump, but it
Mhm.
was very scathing. So
That was one that we were actually going to bring up as well. The letter that you read, I saw that and I was like, we have this mindset. At least I do. If you are of an age and older, the Republicans and the oil industry, they love each other. There's a partnership there that love it or hate it, but there was always this thing. And now it seems, especially in this age of misinformation where they're saying drill, baby, drill. And as Jane said, we are doing that. The oil industry is at this point where they're throwing their hands up saying, we don't know what to do anymore. As you said in the letter, $50 barrels and what was, it was drilling more can't coexist with each other because $50 barrels means there's less drilling. Am I right?
yeah, and one analogy I like to use, Jane, does $50 buy you what it used to?
No.
Exactly. And so it doesn't buy oil companies what it used to either. And we've been stuck on this $50 break even thing for like what, 15 or 20 years we've been saying $50.
Mm-hmm.
$50 isn't what it used to be. And 50 is the new 70, right? It takes about $70 to buy what $50 used to buy. And inflation impacts corporations just like it impacts people. It's no different, right? They don't get special costs because they're corporations. So, the thing is, it takes massive reinvestments of capital continually going into the upstream part of the oil and gas industry to continue to produce oil. And with the nature of this business constantly requiring massive reinvestments of capital, a little bit of jittery, a little bit of uncertainty, and they'll pull that money. They can put that money anywhere. They don't have to invest money in oil. These people are billionaires. They can park their money in healthcare or pharmaceuticals or technology. They don't have, they're not loyal to fossil fuels.
Right.
They can put money anywhere. So people will put their money where they think it'll get them the best return. And right now, that's not oil and gas.
And just to Matt, to break it down to its most simple level, when Trump said again, we're going to make energy so cheap, it's going to be so cheap, and Americans are going to be delighted because it's going to be so cheap. It gets to a point where it is so cheap, it is no longer valuable for oil companies to produce this because they're not making any money on it, right?
Yeah, and there's also other impacts. So if you make oil super cheap, and you actually, let's say we got OPEC to increase production significantly and make oil really cheap. A lot of our natural gas production comes from oil production, right? Well, we're already low in inventory on natural gas, and we're seeing high natural gas prices because of how much we export. If we make oil too cheap, our natural gas prices will skyrocket. Like, this is a very sort of balanced ecosystem. You can't just say we're going to make everything cheap. That's not how it works.
Right.
It's much more complex than that. And people's utility bills, especially like in the Northeast corridor of the United States, where you have a lot of deregulated states, people are getting $1,200 and $1,400 utility bills. That far outweighs any savings at the gas pump. So it's you know you can celebrate that you save someone 10 cents at the gas pump, but if it makes their electric bill go up $150 a month, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's a wash. Yeah, right. Uh, Quoting from this article again in the Bulwark, Matt, Shane Matson is a geologist and the former president of the Osage Producers Association. His family's been in the oil industry for 4 generations. He said, if you threaten to close the agency without a solution, when really you should triple the budget so we can drill, baby, drill, the effect of that on the industry is kill, baby, kill.
Yeah.
And that just makes, I mean, that just, it kind of blows my mind that they still think they can come in here with that attitude of the chainsaw to the budgets, chainsaw to the jobs, and yet they expect the same or more output. I mean, one of the things you mentioned in that letter to the Trump administration was the fact, and we've talked about it many, many times, is that oil and gas, any big business, hates uncertainty.
Absolutely.
And this is what they're throwing him every single day. And I mean, a guy gets fired, he gets brought back. How comfortable can that person be in their job knowing that the next Wednesday they'll get fired again? So how it's affecting oil and gas, and what will happen if people are walking away from oil and gas, as you just said, where are they going to? I mean, that's the question I would have.
I said all along that the oil companies supported Trump because they wanted him to get rid of subsidies for EVs, and that's how he was supposed to help the oil companies. And I think I don't think I had any special knowledge. I think they knew all along that he was going to do these things, and they're willing to deal with this for 4 years. If it gives them a better competitive advantage in the market over renewables and EVs, because that was the source of their vote. That was the source of their support. It wasn't what he was going to do for the industry. It was what he was going to do to renewables and EVs. That's why they supported him. But so they'll just fight this for 4 years. But one thing Donald Trump didn't count on, if you remember, at the end of the last Trump administration and throughout COVID, shortly after that, it came out that Scott Sheffield with Exxon. My mind just went blank. The guy from Hess. These guys are having conversations with OPEC leaders, right? And the Federal Trade Commission came out. They've investigated Pioneer, possible collusion between U.S. oil companies and OPEC to keep prices high. Those relationships have been established. And now OPEC is like, we're not doing business. We're not increasing production. We're not helping you. This is a totally different scenario than it was in the first Trump administration when he was able to get them to increase production and lower prices. Now the OPEC oil ministers are talking directly to U.S. oil companies, and they are working together against Donald Trump. So this is a totally different scenario.
But I think it's important, Matt, that folks realize that when Trump got OPEC to increase their output, that hurt producers here.
It did, and it also hurt them because it was based on a lie. He double crossed them. So, he damaged those relationships himself. And
It's just a lot to take in.
it is.
It's just a lot to take in. This in particular is really going to hurt smaller producers. Like you said, the big guys and the Exxons and those guys, they're good. They can ride this out forever, right?
Yeah.
But there are smaller producers like you are, who this really has a direct impact upon the smaller producers.
Yeah, and so, I am heavily weighted in natural gas, which means I produce significantly more natural gas than oil. So, this isn't impacting me a lot. You know, but a lot of small producers, you're either heavily weighted in one or the other. Or you have really good balance, 50-50. A lot of small producers just produce a lot of oil and not much natural gas. And they will definitely be impacted more than anybody.
So for you, I mean, you've spoken a lot about the natural gas situation as far as the amount we produce, the low price that we have. I mean, for you as a producer of natural gas, what is where do you want to see that go then to make it both accessible for the people, but also, put money in your pocket?
Well, so kind of what's going on with natural gas is that it's not that the current natural gas prices are making people's utility bills skyrocket, because we saw $9 and $10 natural gas back in 22, like after COVID, when everything spiked, so did natural gas. But what's happening is utility companies are using these prices to justify exorbitant delivery fees. So I've looked at probably 300 utility bills. People just send me their utility bills. Like,
Yeah.
explain this to me. And what
Why
I am,
is this happening?
yeah, why, and they make when they print out your utility bills, it is done strategically so you can't understand it.
Yeah.
That's the first thing people need to know. You're not supposed to understand that. They don't want you to understand that. But what I am seeing every time I look at these, it's not the charges for natural gas use, it's delivery charges. And that's something that's largely unregulated. And so they are gouging people on delivery, just sending the gas to their house or
Oh,
sending the
wow.
electricity to their house. That's where they're gouging the people, but they're using higher natural gas prices to justify it.
As the justification, and essentially
Yes.
they're just tacking on more fees. These are like
Yes.
the unexpected fees that you get when you buy a concert ticket and all that stuff. That's kind of what they're doing.
Well, it's
Yeah, if I'm looking at a $1,200 bill, $600 of it will be for delivery charges.
well, and when you said the bill, the first thing I actually thought about too was a medical bill. They want that
Yes.
medical bill to be 10 pages long, so you don't call
And you give up.
billing and you say, "Hey, can we negotiate this $300 sandwich?"
We're going to continue our conversation with Mr. Global. Matt Randolph is here. If you have a question, if you'd like to point out how he's wrong, please call.
I dare you.
855-752-4842. It always goes so well. You're listening to Matt and Air on Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. We'll be right back. Good morning and welcome back to Matt and Air on Air. Jane Matt and Air, Greg Bach, Calvitini on the board, coming to you from our studio here at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and the platform that Elon continues to actively ruin. After the 11 o'clock news, it continues this week. Our statewide text to win Breaking to Spring contest. You want to be listening for the word, you need to text in next hour via the Civic Media app. You could pick up one of 3 great prizes: a Chula Vista getaway, Milwaukee Brewers club level tickets, or $100 in cash. And then everyone who enters gets into the grand prize drawing for a brand new queen size mattress set from Verlo. So stick around. Make sure you have the Civic Media app. That's the only way to enter. After the 11 o'clock news, we will give you the word you need to text in, and then you will be in the running for all those great prizes. Delighted to have him join us. It's Monday with Mr. Global. Matt Randolph is here, and I wanted to share a quote from White House spokesperson Anna Kelly, Matt, talking about the moves that the Trump administration is taking, especially in Oklahoma. in getting rid of one of these agencies that kind of oversaw the oil and gas industry. Here is the quote from Anna Kelly with the Trump administration. After 4 years of radical environmental policies that restricted domestic energy production, President Trump has taken unprecedented action to unleash American energy and eliminate red tape for new oil projects. He will keep delivering on his promise to drill, baby, drill, and use the liquid gold under our feet. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we reached record production levels under President Biden, did we not?
Yes, that is correct.
We did.
Well, everyone have a good day.
All right, that's it. Goodbye. But man, it's one of those things that people forget, and people just assume that everything that Donald Trump says is accurate, and that's not so.
Well, so here's where we are. We're in the find out phase. So and I mean that in a good way. We're in the learning phase. People are about to learn that all of these policies and this talk about regulations and all of these things that's been demonized and politicized and fought over for years, they're about to learn how much they actually matter. I've been telling everyone forever, the only thing that matters is the price of a barrel of oil. Regulations are a 4-letter word. And yes, there are instances where overburdensome regulations can have a negative impact. Look at California. But the fact of the matter is, the regulations we've had across the United States in the oil and gas industry are not bad at all. And nothing that Donald Trump is doing is going to help the oil and gas industry or help with prices in any way. The only thing that matters is the price of a barrel of oil, the price of a cubic foot of gas. That's it. That's it. A company that makes $30 billion a year is not going to stop doing that because of a regulation. That's not a thing.
Right.
They don't say, oh, there's this new rule. Oh, I don't need that 30 billion anymore. We'll go do something else. That's not how it works. And that's what everyone is finding out. I'm getting tagged in questions every day. Why aren't my gas prices falling like they were supposed to? Because they weren't supposed to. That you just believed that was going to happen, right? And people just believe, since we had lower gas prices under the first Trump administration, that we will have that under the second. Things are different now. Like he inherited that, and when I tell people he inherited that, they don't believe me. But people are starting to figure out. People message me, "Hey, my gas went down 40 cents. What's up?" And I say, "Well, next week it'll be up $1. What's up?" And then a week later, they message me and they're like, "What happened? My gas went up $1." And I'm like, "You didn't listen to me."
It's almost like this whole thing is on a cycle that's fairly easy to predict, Matt.
It's super easy to predict. Yeah, this is the easiest part of my job, is predicting gas prices. It's literally like a child can predict gas prices. There's stuff that's a lot harder than predicting gas prices, but it's super seasonal, right? It's super seasonal.
We only have a couple of minutes left, Matt, but I did want to get your response about this because I know you covered this on your YouTube channel. We have a clip from Howard Lutnick, I believe, Calvin, talking about Social Security and who complains if they don't get their Social Security checks. Matt, I know you talked about this. Let's play this clip, Calvin.
Didn't send out their checks this month. My mother-in-law, who's 94, she wouldn't call and complain.
No.
She just wouldn't. She'd think something got messed up, and she'll get it next month.
Yeah.
A fraudster always makes the loudest noise, screaming, yelling, and complaining.
So does that make Trump a fraudster?
Isn't Howard Lutnick is like a millionaire several times over?
He's a billionaire.
He's a billionaire. Sorry, Howard, I insulted you. So I mean, I guess we can assume that his mother-in-law is kind of going to be okay if she misses that Social Security check, unless he's a really lousy son-in-law.
Yeah, if she's not okay, that says a lot more about Howard than her.
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah, that when he said that, it just was that from the video I did.
No, this is from him. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I did a video on that went viral and people just loved because I explained how completely out of touch Howard Lutnick is. My mother's on Social Security. If her check didn't show up, she would have a stroke.
And she would call and complain.
Yeah, she'd probably call me first. Where's my Social Security check? Oh, I don't know. Like,
Mom,
Washington, I guess.
follow him on YouTube and please take your comments and your criticisms to Matt. He is not afraid to answer you. I really encourage you to do that. Mr. Global, Matt Randolph, follow him on YouTube. Thank you so much, Matt. Really, really appreciate it. Take care.
thank you guys.